Every day, a phone rings, somewhere in this country. It's a call that interrupts afternoon coffee breaks, delays morning meetings. A call that can come just as the children are being tucked into bed. Maybe he's gonna be late. Maybe she got a flat tire. A reminder to pick up groceries. Not today. There's been an accident, says the voice. And you need to get here quick.
You know, I only wish he would have come to. No. I never had a meaningful conversation with him after the 12th. There was no conversation. Like, I had a conversation with him. He didn't respond. So as time went by, it became more evident that he wasn't going to recover, and there was a point in time where I guess my prayers may have turned from let's get him back to let's let him go. I play the harmonica a little bit, and I had a song.
I've tried not to be angry. I don't think it does any good to anybody. I guess I'm more upset that we will never get to see him get married. We will never get to see him have a family of his own. And to see what the future was ahead for him. And Dave and I often talk about, I wonder what he'd be doing right now if he was here.
You never quit thinking about it every day. You know, you wake up in the morning, I take my prosthetic off every night. You get up in the morning or in the middle of the night and you get this phantom pain, so you don't even kind of forget that you have a prosthetic. So you get out of bed and you try walking. You don't walk too far on one foot.
Not necessarily I won't be able to do, but you'll never be the same. Even though I've recovered quite well, it's still something I got to deal with every day. And yeah, at times it angers me because when you're doing something, it's hard not to think about it because it affects you every minute of the day.
I did this to my family and to everyone that cares about me, but I can't take that back. And I'm not going to keep banging that drum and going down that path because I cannot reverse time. I've made that mistake, but I realize that I can learn from that mistake and grow. And in my case, I can grow and try and hopefully share that with other people.
I don't know how to explain it, but my whole life's changed. I don't know what career I'm going to go into now. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I'm back here living at my parents' house for the moment. My whole future is uncertain at this moment. And so my whole outlook on life is that cherish what you have for the time being because it could change any second. And that's exactly what happened to me. My life was under control and it was in motion the way I wanted it to be. And now it's completely upside down and not going in any direction.
You don't know what it's like till it's happened to you. We see the articles in the paper every day, whether it be, a car accident due to drinking and driving or a workplace accident due to something that happened on site. Until that affects you directly, it doesn't affect you. It's not going to happen to me. It happens to them, not me.
It's just another day. Hundreds of these have come and gone. You're so good at your job, you can do it with your eyes closed. You do it so well that sometimes you let your mind wander, thinking about the big game coming up, or when you're gonna fix the deck. Friday night with the girls. There's a call from above, but you can't hear it. Doesn't matter. Everything's under control.
We had 52 sites where we were doing 52 windmills. So we were at one of these sites preparing to install these windmills.
We were just getting ready to lower in last section going over top of the mountain. And I walked up to talk to the guy that was my straw, tell him that we needed one more piece of equipment and come help lower in this section because too much weight for the equipment we had on it.
And some of the guys are tired, everybody's tired, it's Monday morning. So me and my partner that I worked with for almost a year, we got to pulling tie bolts out of the forms.
What we were doing was we were taking the boom sections of the large crane with a smaller crane and hoisting them onto the trucks. Now, to take them apart, there's pins, like there's 4 pins holding each boom section together.
The D9 cat that was coming up the hill, and he couldn't see me because of the way the hill is. You're at I don't know what exact slope we were on, but when you're running a piece of equipment and you're going up that grade of a slope, it takes quite a bit of vision to see 15 feet in front of you or 20 feet in front of you.
He ended up pulling all the bolts out of one panel, and I said, you got to put at least one of them back in at head height. I gave him the bolt, he stuck it in, he wasn't too happy about it. I never actually watched him thread it into the hole.
As we were disassembling one of these boom sections, I was pulling the 2 of the 4 pins, so there's 4 pins that hold this boom section in. So I went over and I pulled the one out on the lower side, came over to this side, and as I was standing inside of this part of the crane and I pulled the pin out, that's when I had this piece land on my feet and crush both my feet.
And I just slipped and shot in front of this piece of equipment, and this straw of mine, he finally got the piece of equipment stopped, and I just remember him backing off, and my son was there. They pulled me out from underneath the piece of equipment, and God.
And after I hooked up the second panel, I slid to the third. I tied off, I went to go do up my boot, and as I was doing that, the crane shook the form beside me, and mine wasn't attached to the wall. It had no bolts in it. The bolt had just been placed back in the hole, so it was an illusion that the form was secure, and it come back off the wall and fell backwards onto me.
Got about 8, 9, 10 trees in. So far it's going okay. Then we get to the last tree I've ever felled in my life. And my plan was I'd put an undercut, I'd put a back cut, and then he would be set up. I'd go in my safe zone, if you want to call it safe zone. And then I would give him a hand signal to push the tree down.
The lift that he was on can become confusing. Once it's rotated 180 degrees, the forward control is reverse and the reverse control is forward. And I believe that he got into a situation that he was more than 180 degrees around, and he was in between some roof trusses in some close tolerances, and I believe that he pushed the lever to go forward and it went backwards and pinned him. And I think it would have been rather sudden and firm. In other words, I think it whiffed the wind right out of him.
The tree starts going over and it goes great. Then he stops and doesn't maintain pressure and slam to the ground. He actually lets go of the tree, and the tree now hits the ground, leaves the bucket in the air, rotates back towards me over top of my head. And the next thing I know is the bucket comes slamming down on me, and I tried to jump out of the way, and the bucket was still able to hit me in the pelvis and slam me to the ground, and he dragged me the full width of a bucket all the way, or full width of the whole stick of the machine, and dragged me all the way down to his machine as I'm screaming and as I feel my body starting to separate and my legs are starting to move farther and farther apart and going in this direction. And then he let go of me, and that's where I laid.
So he was out of wind and couldn't yell, and I don't believe that it would take too long that he would become incapacitated, and he suffocated. Now they brought him down as quick as they could. There was men in the area, and it was just too late. They're just too long without oxygen, and it's just too long.
Take a deep breath. Do you smell it? That's the sweet scent of the life you've come to know. Friends, family, good times. No one is going to take that from you. You look out for number one because that's what you've been told. It's the code you live by. If there's ever a problem, you'll sense it. If not, someone else will. Besides, they're all looking out for number one just like you. Right?
It's probably easier for me to remember the good times, I believe. So many of them I hoisted the Stanley Cup with my son. Great moment for me. I have a photo of him and myself giving each other a drink out of the Stanley Cup. Not everybody gets to do that. Not that I won a cup or anything, or that he did, but we had that opportunity. Those kind of things are memories that you'll never forget. You have those. Can't take them away.
What makes it more depressing or sad is, how people in life take things for granted. The smallest things. We take for granted that we can breathe on our own. Every second we can do that. We take that for granted. We take for granted we can put food and drinks in our mouth. We take for granted that we can actually get out of a bed every day. We take for granted that we can actually stand up and walk. The little things we take for granted.
Accidents change your life. They do. And whether you are the person who is permanently injured and disabled, or whether you are a person who was wounded emotionally by a traumatic event, it does change you. It makes you much more alert to safety issues. If you've never been through a traumatic event, it's very easy to take safety for granted. If you've been through it, you are much more aware of the need to pay attention to safety. How do you go on when you've been changed? Well, part of it is accepting that life is different, that it's not necessarily happy and carefree in the way it was, because you are much more aware of the impact these things can have in your life.
There's an empty place next to you in bed. One less dinner plate at the kitchen table. You still have the memories, but that's just not enough. Life is for the living, they say. So, you carry on. It was supposed to be an in and out job, but mistakes were made. You still can't believe it, but it happened. You're alive, they say. Carry on. Look at all the faces. They're all still here. Except one. He may not be coming back. She may be gone forever. Can you?
I also need to be here for my new baby girl. And I need to be here to help her with the struggles and challenges she's going to face on this earth, because there's many. When she has a homework question, I need to be here or want to be here for when she has that first sporting event and she does something well, scores a goal, whatever it is. And I remember as a kid looking up for my parents to, cheer with them from the bleachers, and I need to be here for those moments. I need to be here when she gets to walk down the aisle and I'm holding her arm. And it's me holding her arm, not her stepdad, not someone else, me. And so I need to be here for her.
Every worker matters. We can't afford to lose them.